Hello everybody, Adam with Hyposphere Media, and today we are going to take in a monster and a movie. So let's get started. So, you know the gimmick. We drink a monster, we take in a movie. And today's movie is quite honestly a pleasant surprise. I had not seen this movie. I picked this movie up as a blind buy. Everything I read about this movie was fantastic. It fit every narrative I needed to keep me entertained. And I was rather surprised I'd never heard of this movie. It stars Linda Blair. Released in 1984, we are talking about Savage Streets. Now, I see what you're looking at. You're like, what in the hell do you have in your hands? This was released by Shock Entertainment. It's a German Digibook release. I have to be careful what I show in this because this has some interesting stuff in it. But as you can see, this is a numbered release, 146 out of 222. Very limited. And it is, I think I can show you all that, yeah. The movie's missing because it's right up here. But you can see, this is a full German release. This movie's been kind of hard to come by. A little bit about this movie. Released in 1984, starring Linda Blair of Exorcist fame. Originally directed by Tom Desimore. I believe that's how you say his name. But he was then taken over by Danny Steinman. And Danny Steinman started his career as a director, kind of doing XXX movies. I think he was involved with a Playboy TV release back in the day, which in the 80s, Playboy TV was a big deal. Now the internet came up. One of the things that I watched this movie fully today, one of these things that I just can't get over about this movie is there's a lot of action. And to be honest, it's an 80s film. It is everything 80s that you know. It is everything 80s that you love. But the more this thing gets going, it's sleaze, it's filth, it's violence, it's revenge. I am a huge fan of Chuck Norris. In fact, Chuck Norris is probably one of my favorite actors. But when you talk Chuck Norris with me, you have to talk Charles Bronson as well. And those two were compared a lot back in the 70s and 80s. And the more their careers kind of paralleled, they all got into those action thriller type movies. So when we talk about those types of movies and you look back at Charles Bronson was famous for the first movie of his that I've seen, which I watch every time I get a chance, Death Wish. The older that Charles Bronson got, the more his movies just kind of followed a cookie cutter. And I think a lot of that happened with Linda Blair as well. After she did The Exorcist, she realized that that's all she was noticed for. And she wanted to get out of that and do anything that she can. And in this, she definitely did that. Going back to the Charles Bronson, this is a Death Wish type movie. Without giving away any spoilers, this particular movie is about a woman, Linda Blair, whose sister is deaf, who has a ton of friends. They go to a high school, which, to be honest, I don't know. I saw a cop once in this movie. I don't know where this high school is located. I don't think they even said it had to be in some inner city in the 80s where just anything goes. There were fights, there were robberies, there was just anything. And you had a gang of guys who essentially ran that high school and did some pretty bad things. And of course, Linda Blair's sister's involved. One thing I want to note, pretty soon in the movie, I was very surprised to see John Vernon in this movie. And if you know John Vernon, I know John Vernon from, he was the gentleman in Ernest Goes to Camp who talked the Indian who owned Camp Kikaki into selling his land. Very just heelish character, and he played just that. He was the principal in this movie, and he was just a bad dude. Now, this movie, like I said, has a little bit of everything. It had to be cut by 24 minutes just to get under that X rating. In fact, I think the British Board of Film Classification required that they actually cut it down for that 20. And the way they said it was 24 minutes of sex scenes and crossbows. Apparently, crossbows aren't good for the British. This has been so hard to find. You don't see this a lot. In fact, here in the United States, there might be one release on Blu-ray. I'm not sure. I know back in 2011, Arrow released a DVD version that had more of a limited run than what they expected. Most of the films were destroyed in a fire, the copies of the DVD. So it's not very easy to find. Another thing about this film, phenomenal 80s soundtrack. In fact, I don't think this is anywhere to be found on soundtrack. I think there was a non-official release for the soundtrack back in the early 2000s, but after that, there wasn't a lot. I would show you more of this film, but I mean, there's some great artwork in this, by the way. If you look at that there, that is fantastic. It's all in German, so you're going to need to translate. In fact, when you start this movie, it is automatically dubbed in German, but it does allow you to change that in the settings. Here's another one there. I mean, this is just so good. I picked this up off of Orbit DVD when it originally came out. It sold out pretty quick. There were 2 covers on this, as you can see. Here is the foreign movie poster. Very cool. And it just has a lot. I think I can show you all that, yeah. So it just has a lot of good stuff in. I plan on reading this through translator at some point. Here's the original artwork for the movie poster. See that there? So I suggest watching this. The ending is well, there's another one too. The ending is exactly what you think it is. One thing I will say is there were some really cheesy moments in this. You have a gang, some bad dudes, let me tell you. Real scumbags. One of them has, and you'll realize it, I can't remember the character's name, not great with names. Brenda is Linda Blair's character, but otherwise, the gentleman who has his earring is a razor blade. That's the baddest dude of them all, and you'll find that out real quick by some of the things he does. It has a scene, and I'm not going to spoil it, what kind of starts everything downhill in this film to get the revenge on the bad guys is a very uncomfortable scene that was originally longer than it was. It felt like it went on just a long time, but it's uncomfortable, but that's what you want, right? You want an uncomfortable scene to make you really hate these dudes. And I'm going to tell you, I hated these dudes, but I love this movie. It was a great movie. Again, it's a 6.2 on IMDb for what it's worth. I don't put a lot of stock in IMDb. With certain new movies, I will look at it, but I'm always curious what people think about movies like this because Savage Streets, from what I can tell, a lot of people, this is a cult classic to me. A lot of people have not seen this film. Linda Blair did it again to try to break out of her normal casting, so to speak. And I recommend it to anybody. As you look on the back, you can see some of the scenes there. Again, I think I've shown it off enough. It's a brilliant film. I give this a 6 out of 10 as well. I hate to stick to that. And by the way, here is the DVD disc on that. It's just great. It's got a lot of action. It's got a lot of just cheesy lines. I will call this out, right? Linda Blair at one point, and I may not be breaking any news, I don't think she's the best actress. At one point in this film, she goes from this playing every stigma of badass that you've seen to helpless within 5 seconds. Like, it's mind-blowing how undefeatable she looks to, oh no, I'm gonna get killed. It's fascinating. So anyhow, I suggest watching Savage Streets. Find the DVD, find the Blu-ray, find whatever you can. Just for the soundtrack alone, highly recommend. This film did run out of money midway through making it, so you'll see some characters just massively disappear. They don't even have a chance to kill them off. They're just not mentioned anymore. So yeah, it's fun for all these reasons. Well, I say it was. I think Deborah Blee, I think her name was, is one of the characters that just out of nowhere just goes away. Don't even address it. They're just like, she's not here anymore. So again, this is Adam. This is Hype is Here Media. This is Monster in a Movie. And I thank you all for subscribing. Like and comment. Have you seen this movie? Do you want to see this movie? Is this a movie you would like to see? Say things. Let me know what you think. I am Adam. Please make sure you watch some media, consume some media, watch some movies, and let me know. Have a wonderful day.